So now let's get to their lairs.
That was an interruption by our puppy.
Cut? Is it going to get cut?
I don't know. Maybe we'll cut it, but I'll look over it.
Well, I mean,
and
that dog was right here.
yeah, Well, listen. This is why the dog is relevant. It's good for you guys to learn a little bit about, our process, and that includes having a dog. And her name is Valkyrie. So we got a little D&D spin on it. You know what I'm saying?
Pretty sick.
No, this isn't our dog. This is parents' dog, which is kind of where we, come from, considering we're brothers. So it's a united pet there.
United pet, yep.
Yes, but anyway.
Iron Golem reminds me of a dog. They're always loyal. Great friends.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But dogs have personality. All right, enough about...
What would happen if you told Iron Golem, do my math test? Would it just be a god smart?
Yeah, well, there's limits to what it can do, I think. Like, you can't say, like, go do
What
it in
is
my math
the
homework.
meaning of life? The Iron Golem, puts a finger to his helmet and starts, going on the chalkboard.
It's a physical, laborer. Like, that does physical tasks. It doesn't have a mind.
No one has cracked the code yet. They're actually masterminds, and no one knows.
That would just be a computer.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a magical variant of a computer.
We don't have computers.
All right, that was a big tangent. Let's get back into it. So let's get into lairs.
Lairs, you will find them in dwarven dungeons. Well, not dungeons, ruins. Dwarven lairs, dwarven keeps, dwarven castles. Mainly, if there's a dwarf stamped on it, there's probably an Iron Golem there, too. That's where you find them. A lot. Is dwarves. Dwarves, Iron Golems. They love each other. That's where you'll find them.
However, you can find them anywhere in the realm. And anywhere. Any climate, any terrain. They don't just follow dwarves around. They can be created by anyone. Dwarves just have a very unique and, means to make them. But anyone can do so, and they're very worth making. So you can find them anywhere. What's your smirk about?
I was thinking about the dog. What a cute dog. Kiri.
Yes, Kiri. Yeah, her name's Valkyrie, but we call her Kiri.
Yeah.
But enough about Kiri. We're here to talk about Iron Golems.
Also, Iron Golems brings a smile to my face.
Okay. Good. Okay, but they can be found anywhere in the realm, but typically dwarves in the highest cluster. And what they're going to be found next to, typically, are...
money.
Yeah, valuable places or valuable items or places that are important to some extent, and probably ancient, because this is these kind of magical creatures that are so hard to make that they were more common in the ancient times. The age before legends, the time when magic was very prominent, too prominent to make adventuring interesting. The old world.
We'll talk about that in another episode.
Yeah, so you just imagine basically finding kind of a mountain entrance. You walk in, it's this big mountain palace, but it's abandoned, and you get to the throne room, and you see a mountain of gold, but then
oh god, it's smog. Oh wait, no, it's just Iron Dwarf or Iron.
Yeah,
Golem.
And then the Iron Golem that's standing there, basically as a statue, right? It's like an ornate, that's the word. It's like an ornate structure, then moves and attacks you. That's what you're dealing with. Yep. Okay, anything else in their lairs? They don't really have lairs. It's wherever they're put.
Well,
right?
You probably want to think about what else could be in their lair. So you might have whatever used to live there. So I don't know.
Well, the thing about Iron Golems is they are guarding a location typically. Right. So there probably won't be anything else there because they'll be guarding
I didn't mean living. I meant maybe the dwarves have some booby traps that blow you up or something. So you might expect as a DM you could throw in some booby traps of the ancient ones with the true. Iron Golem. Just
if
to
they
make
put
it
all
more
the work
dangerous.
to put an Iron Golem, they probably also put in the work to put some simple traps, something like that, which can definitely make it an interesting combat. You could have hallways where the iron or the hallway might be tight, so maybe only
saws appear.
Yeah, saws appear, and while you're running from the Iron Golem, if your party does choose life, They may run into traps and stuff like that. So that can be
Or
interesting.
just have like fire traps where the Iron Golem can just walk past it and gets healed.
True.
Oh, that would be
No,
sick.
intelligent, smart creators of the Iron Golem may place like lava pits. And if it's dwarven, there's going to be like
There has
fire
to be
all over the
fire.
place.
Dwarves love fire.
So that could be a strategic thing. Like it's literally like it's an Iron Golem that also is next to a river of lava.
Wait, so theoretically, though, how you solve the hell problem? Chuck an Iron Golem in there. Close the portal. all the demons and devils stop. They look, and the Iron Golem just like you just see fire just ignites more and just goes.
Wow, that's an immortal
the
Iron
Golem would be the Doomslayer.
Because any damage it takes, it will instantly regain.
And no devil or demon does magical attacks.
There are parts of hell though that aren't just straight up fire. Like
yeah, I know there's the ice one, and I know there's the one where it's like a bowl where boulders.
Yeah, there's 9 hells. Yeah. So if you or the man, I'm blanking on all the levels here. So you got like the abyss and all that. But whichever, I know there's one that's like the classical fires of hell.
That is the first lair.
Okay.
Literally,
so that's maybe the one.
If you need to get into the 9 hells, you go to that lair. Yeah. So I just imagine devils and demons are like fighting, and then they stop and they look. It's just an Iron Golem. The portal closes behind it. It's just a shadow. And all you see is just.
If you do have like a campaign where your players are going into the first stage of the first level of hell, whatever it's called, and it's just all fire, the players would be genius to invest their time trying to get an Iron Golem to come with them. That's a pro strat.
That is pro strat.
Yeah. Okay, but let's assume that this Iron Golem is not on the player's side, and the players stumbled upon it and now have to face it. What are the combat strategies that an Iron Golem would take?
Pretty simple strategies.
Yeah.
So if you're just like a drone DM, or like if you just want something easy, I'll give you something easy. So basically, as an Iron Golem is, they're not strategic at all. They do what they do.
Zero strategy. They're not smart enough to be strategic. If you look at their stat block, they have no brains. They literally have no brains. They just have a little fire burning in there. Now, if they were smart, just, people homebrew. Let's say you make one smart. If they were smart, they'd probably target spellcasters because, one, they'll be easy to kill quickly, and magic is technically something that can hurt them.
Also, they wouldn't use their poison spray against dwarves.
Yeah, they would not want to waste their poison spray on anything that is resistant. However, this is only if they're smart. So everything we just said, scrap it if you want to stick to the lore. They would totally use their poison spray on a dwarf.
They're spamming that. They're spamming that move.
Yeah.
Whoever's inside, whatever's inside, is hitting that button over and over again, because that's like instant, like 20 more than it's.
Yeah, and attack. There's no recharge, right? Or
there has to be a recharge. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe there is. Okay.
There is a recharge. There has to be a recharge. If there isn't, he would literally be so broken.
That's
like,
true.
He would never use his sword or his hands. By the way, he would always use his sword. It has 10-foot reach. So,
yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, so they have no strategy. Moving on. So what would they do?
This is actually sort of a strategy-ish. They barely use their slam attack. They never really use it because their sword does more and it's reached.
So to me, I agree and disagree with that. So yes, let's just put it out.
I know it's cooler if it like punches, but like if you want to take it just strategically as a DM though.
No, I'm taking this as what would the Iron Golem do? I don't care about what's cool right now, and I don't care about what's strategic. What would the Iron Golem do? I'm sticking with like immersion as always, and like staying true to the world. And so there is the general idea that the Iron Golem, as you said, would stick with their sword only. Not only does it have more range, it deals more damage. And there's one reason I disagree with this, and I think can justify using Slam more. And that is Iron Golems, again, are not intelligent enough to recognize the fact that their sword is better. And so they may swing their sword, but then they just might throw a punch if they're in close range now.
I guess that's true. How I thought about it is like if they're within range, they're just gonna hit no matter what.
Yeah.
Like they're not gonna move up a bit then do sword punch. I feel like if they're within 10 feet, they're gonna hit. You know?
Yeah,
what I'm
no.
saying?
So
Like,
the
that's what I
other,
thought.
the other thing is basically they're programmed, or maybe like their natural tendency, if you want to call it natural, like their coding makes swinging their sword just what's natural for them. So like they wouldn't really use slam, not because it's better, but just because it makes logical sense. Like if you tell a robot do something, the most efficient thing to do is to swing what's in its hand instead of you let go of what's in its hand and punch. It wouldn't. That's an extra step it doesn't need to take. It would just, I am holding a sword that is basically part of me. I am going to swing that sword. And not only is that more strategic, but I think it does make sense.
I mean, I think the only reason it would do slam. By the way, I read a book. It's a pretty nice book. It's about like know your monsters. It just talks about monsters.
There's lots of books on this. The one that you have is The Monsters Know What They're Doing. So shout out to that book. That is an awesome book.
It's a amazing book.
Yeah, that's one of the resources that I definitely look at. Not the book though. I kind of just the blog. There's a blog. But I look at it a lot more, and so I believe that book does say the sword.
Yeah, no, it does say they're not intelligent enough to like basically if they're within range, they're hitting it no matter what. Basically, it's like if they get within range, sword, and sword does more damage than punch. So and it said if it ever gets disarmed, it doesn't even bother picking up its sword. It just throws punches.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the only time it would start punching.
And yeah, so that's a really good. Yeah, I mean that's a good book to pick up if you want a book. But we also talk. I mean, combat strategies is something everyone talks about. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a major pillar of the game, combat. So yeah, you can get your research from anywhere. But we like to check up what other people are saying.
How I would like is like make it like cinematic. Like it's not just go sword. It would swing and maybe like try to stomp. Something.
Absolutely.
Like if someone was underneath it, it would not just go stab. It would go stomp.
Yeah, I would try to keep the
immersion.
Like keep the picture of what's going on in your mind. Or, I mean, if you have a battle map, that too. But just kind of picture what's going on. So, like, if it swings and misses, maybe that's a time to punch instead. Because maybe the sword, like, swings really far, and then now they'd have to, like, pull their sword back and swing again. So maybe that's like, kind of difficult.
Like, they would do a swing and then, like, a backhand.
Yeah, maybe a backhand. But if they hit, maybe they would then, like, spin into another strike or something.
I just imagine Iron Golem just being, like, really good swordsman instead of just, like...
Yeah. There's nothing that keeps it from being, like, a dexterous fighter, except its low dexterity. So I guess which I guess is everything. So I guess you would, be based off of that, want to keep it more brutish. But... strong barbarian, like, fighting, spin moves are common for strong people.
Or imagine, like, a homebrew monk made of Iron Golem. This monk knows Kung Fu now.
Yeah, but if you just look at the stats, it's not saying to be dexterous.
That would be so fun to find an Iron Golem that's, like, a martial artist.
Yeah.
It's, like, does, like, palm strikes and does, like,
I don't know if that'd be an Iron
sweeping kicks. Just imagine, though, you go to, like, a monastery and you're like, why is there Iron Golem there? You start fighting and just, like, a sweeping kick and just, like, a back.
Yeah, and we had given that idea as an idea for Shield Guardians because Shield Guardians have this psychic connection to what's using them, and so we thought maybe that psychic connection kind of feeds into the style of the Shield Guardian, how it fights. I don't think that's the case for Iron Golems. I think when you make an Iron Golem, it's made how it's made, and they're all made pretty much the same, and it's gonna fight how an Iron Golem fights, and it doesn't matter what type of fighter you are. It's a big brute with a sword.
It's going to swing as hard as it can doing the job, so it's going to kill.
Yeah, so I don't think a monk controlling it would make any difference.
I just thought it would be funny.
Yeah, but yeah, it would be cool.
Yeah, it would be funny.
Same for the Shield Guardians.
Yeah, so general stuff about their combat strategies. Their poison is probably their strongest weapon, but when they don't have it, they do generally sword. But if you want to put some style points, some cinematic points... Go swing, do what's realistic for the Iron Golem, which you think it is.
Yeah.
But if you want to be that one DM that punishes the players, poison, sword, poison, sword. Yeah. Unless it loses its sword, then poison, punch, basically.
Yeah, and it would probably pick up its sword if it seems convenient, but it may just abandon its sword. It may drop it, and then the only time it would pick it up is if it happens to pass by again. You know what I mean?
I kind of feel like it could, like, take a rock and just chuck it. beam someone?
Yes,
Are they like a
maybe.
little too dumb to? Or,
I
like,
think they're
not
too dumb to
coordinated?
use the environment. I think using the environment would make the combat more interesting. So if you want to do that as a DM, do it. I mean, interesting is kind of more important than staying true to the lore, probably. But if you do want to stay true to the lore, because there are a lot of perks to doing that, which is just making the world real. If everything uses the environment, then it makes when things do use the environment less special, right? Mm-hmm. Like if it's like if anything is going to not use the environment, it would be something like an Iron Golem. And so I think you should kind of do that and give it that flaw because it gives the player something they can use.
That the Iron Golem can't.
That the Iron Golem can't. And when they go into a fight, your players, they will know that this creature is going to be unique and act on its nature, whether that nature is good for itself strategically or not. And I think that's important. It just makes the world feel more real. You know what I mean? Because you can look at an Iron Golem and see this big brute and be like, well, I bet it doesn't do this. And you know what I mean? And that's good. But if you as a DM just arbitrarily give it that capacity, then it doesn't really make sense and it can kind of break the immersion. Yeah. So, long story short, I don't think it uses environment. But if it were to use environment, definitely throw it in a lava pool and have it splash the players.
Come on in!
Or maybe it's just so, like, or just so big and so, like...
When it would swing,
it would swing
lava.
It would swing lava, too.
I mean, do you think it's lava? It could absorb lava?
That's fire damage, so yes. It would heal from it.
But I feel like the metal would melt.
That's the thing. It heals from fire damage. You absolutely cannot melt it.
Dang.
I mean, if it heals from fire damage, you'd be healing it as you're melting it. It doesn't make any sense. It's magical. Whoa. Yeah.
I thought it just eats fire. Like, this is the city's just like burning. It's like, come on, guys, it's almost dead. Just grabs a flaming log.
No, any amount of damage that is fire damage is instead absorbed and healing it. So that's how that works. It's not like it takes an action to heal or something with fire. No, anything that deals fire damage, including just straight up a pool of lava, will heal it.
Dang. So pretty strong.
That could also be like a heal up. You know what I mean?
Heal up.
Which I also don't think it would be smart enough to do. But you can definitely set up your environment, maybe like the dwarves would have if they're smart, where if the Iron Golem is fighting in just its own dumb natural sense,
it would just shoot fire.
It will just by chance walk through these lava pools, which will heal it without it even meaning to heal itself.
That would be actually broken.
That's how you want. I think that's how you want to make this encounter because. Well, actually, let's get in. Let's see if there's anything else, and I want to give a few tips on how to make this encounter good because it's CR16, but it would get absolutely obliterated by 4 CR16 people or players, and it's because it's only one guy or one golem with 2 attacks. Like the action economy will just destroy it. So I think you have to do things to make this just beefy punch monster more interesting and more capable of posing a threat, in my opinion. But let's see if there's anything else I wanted to say about... Oh, right. So they will be spamming their poison, but I assume there's a recharge. I'm not entirely sure.
There has to be a recharge.
So I actually think it might... It's not strategic in that it's going to shoot the poison on, like, a grouping of people. It won't.
It'll just shoot it when it
But what I think it might do is, which will make it a little more strategic by default, or just kind of like as a bonus, is it will only use its poison or maybe wait to use its poison or not be prompted to use its poison until it feels overwhelmed in that there's like too many targets to basically go to. And so let me say what they target. They basically target the closest enemy, but they will before the closest enemy, they will target the enemy that's closest to what they're guarding. Right? So, like, if it engages with the barbarian and then the rogue slips by towards the magical sword, the golem will disengage the barbarian. Not disengage. It'll just...
It doesn't disengage.
It won't take the disengage action. It'll just break off from the barbarian and now pursue the rogue. Because the rogue is going towards what it's guarding. You know what I mean? That's it's...
Makes sense.
That's what it's focused on. And other than that, just whatever grabs its attention, it will attack. It's not... thinking about what's around it. So So where the poison gas comes in is if there's multiple targets, and basically the Iron Golem is like, error. Like all of these targets are like valid targets. It may just like, instead of short circuiting, it like switches to poison mode and it'll be like, okay, multiple targets, initiate poison. Poison goes
Shoots
out.
poison.
Now it's not a robot, but
that's pretty cool though. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now next.
No. I want a few things. So let's talk. Let's think about what we're dealing with right now. All we have is a very beefy, but not very capable creature. And so what this fight will become is
a war of attrition.
I shoot it. Okay, you roll your damage. Okay, it punches you. All right, everyone go again. I shoot it. And because it's so hard to damage, you'll just be doing that forever. You'll just be doing that over and over again. No one will think that you're going to lose the fight because it's like, yeah, I'm sitting on the top of the hill. It can't get to me. Yeah, I'm too quick. I'm going to constantly stay out of its speed range. All these things. So, like, you have this encounter that is just this boring slog of a fight, right? It's just like, okay, yes, is it dead yet? Nope, you still got 150 hit points left to go. And then you're like, oh my god, because you might be stealing like just chip damage every turn, you know what I'm saying? And it probably can't hurt you because it's only got 2 attacks. Those attacks are good, but they're not that good for CR16, and it's probably not even going to be able to catch you with a speed of 30. You know what I mean? It's just not going to. And it being dumb doesn't help.
Well,
so
it might dash towards people.
Will, perhaps, but if you have a speed, this is CR16 characters. Like, if you're a monk, you're already going over double that speed or something.
Dang.
So, like, it wouldn't be difficult for, like, one character to just draw up its attention and run around while the others just shoot it. And an Iron Golem wouldn't even be aware that it's being shot, right? So there's that. So anyway, long story short, the combat can be very boring and simple. So I wanted to give a few tips on how to make it more interesting. So the one that I kind of touched on was you definitely want to pair it with dangerous fire environments. So that is definitely like lava pools or like fire. That could be a flammable structure with a bunch of torches where, like, if the party isn't careful, the place will catch on fire, the whole place will start to collapse, the Iron Golem will heal, and everyone else will take fire damage and all sorts of craziness. And when you do this, you basically realize as players that you have no hope of killing this thing if you just deal chip damage. Like, you're going to have to get crafty, you're going to have to, like, set a trap for it or trap it somewhere, something like that. So that's one way. And the other way is you don't really want to put this combat in like an open field. If you do, it won't really be effective as an encounter. It won't be scary. It won't be challenging. They're just going to be running around.
We'll just stand all the way over there with our longbows and just doo-doo.
Exactly. Not that longbows would deal any damage.
Magic longbows that aren't fire.
Right. But what you probably want to do is put it in a place where
it's very secluded.
And it's like trapping. You're basically pinning the players up against this brute with nowhere to run. And that's where it can get interesting. And I have an extra idea that I will wait because it's cool in my opinion. But yeah, that's combat. So it's a big brute, and make sure you put a little more effort into making the combat interesting, because it itself can be scary if done right, but can be really boring if done wrong. Okay, that was a lot.